Can you guys even believe it? It is the end of 2022. This is my last video of the year. We're recording it and sending it out to you. And today in our video, we are going to be discussing what has happened in 2022 and crystal ball predictions. What do we think is going to happen in 2023? Hey everyone, I'm Katie Evans, owner and lead agent of the Living 48 real estate team. Welcome back to another one of our video blogs. In fact, this is the final vlog of 2022, and I'm really excited to share with you guys the information that I have gathered and worked pulling together for you guys today. So first of all, I want to say a big thank you to Keeping Current Matters for giving us the slides that we're going to be using today. And we're going to be discussing kind of what has been happening in this last year. Are we going into a crash? What do we expect to happen in 2023? And I've got the data to support it. So hang on to the end, you guys. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but we're going to have lots to talk about. And we're going to talk about what you can expect from the Living 48 real estate team in 2023 as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into our slides here, okay? Let's get on it. All right. So everybody is talking about right now, are we going into a crash? Now, LendingTree did a consumer survey, and these are the results of their survey. So we're gonna kind of use this as a launching point for our conversations today. So do you think the housing market is going to crash? According to their survey, 41% of all Americans believe that the housing market will crash again in the next 12 months. Now, 72% who believe that that housing market is going to crash think that it will be as bad or worse than it was in 2008. And 58% of that group expects that the housing crash in the next year. So 58% of the group that expects that housing crash to happen in the next year say that they're postponing any changes that they may have been planning on making until they think that that is all going to settle out. Okay. So that is kind of the sentiment that seems to be pervasive across the nation right now. And let me just kind of preface that everything that we're talking about today is kind of from a national level, and then I will try and bring it back down to a Arizona level, okay? So let's see if we can get to our next slide. Okay, so here are some points that I'm going to try and bring to the table here to show you how today is nothing like 2008, okay, 15 years ago. We're going to look at the key variables and kind of what led up to the crash in 08 and kind of what's happening today. So first of all, in our last housing crisis, that last cycle, the last big housing market crash, we saw the loss of about 8 million jobs. In our current housing cycle right now, we're just not seeing that same trend. Now, could inflation cause some of that? Could all the economy cause some of that? Maybe. We're watching that pretty closely. But as of the time that we put these slides together, we're really not seeing a huge impact on jobs and unemployment. All right. Total jobs, household survey. Back in 08, we had 138 million jobs, and right now we've got about 158 million jobs. So in fact, the sentiment is for most people who are trying to hire that they're having a very difficult time getting qualified candidates to apply for their positions. So there you go. Subprime loans. You guys remember that this is one of the major causes of our last crash. Subprime loans were prevalent. They were everywhere. They're really one of the main reasons that our housing market crashed. Today, there are virtually none. We have updated, we have changed, we have strengthened, we have prevented those poor lending practices from coming back and haunting us again. So new construction. Back in 08, we were building about $7.65 million. I'm sorry, not $million, million homes at that time. Since the crash, we have really underbuilt. And in our current housing cycle, we have 4.6 million homes being built. So again, we are low in inventory, whereas before we were overbuilding Now we are underbuilding. All right, so there's another dramatic difference between the two cycles. Inventory on the market. Oh, this is the one that kills me. We had somewhere between 3.8 and 4 million homes on the market during that. And now we are down to 1 to 1.2 million. Go ask any buyer who's tried to buy a house in the last, I don't know, few years, if they felt like there were enough houses for them to choose from. Their answer is going to be a resounding no. Okay, so again, another huge difference between the two markets. Mortgage delinquencies. Back in our last housing cycle, there were 10% of homeowners that were having some sort of delinquencies on their properties. Right now, we are still at historic lows at 3.6%. Homes in foreclosure. We had 4.6% of all of our homes in foreclosure. Today, we don't even have 1%. So again, major differences, which begs to the question, why are we seeing headlines like this? 15 years ago, the housing market crashed under similar circumstances. So I'm going to take you back. Do those look like similar circumstances to you? Nope. This looks like clickbait to me. All right, so we have to go into the actual data to be pulling the real things that are really happening. And just because our housing prices were at a quote all-time high back in 07, and we see them at an all-time high again, do we really think that the housing market is going to crash based on that? So here are the home price forecasts for 2023 per some of the bigger name sources in the real estate industry, okay? So you'll see right there that very first number in green is an average of all of these, all right? So you're gonna have to go to your most trusted source. Who do you think's getting it right? And let's talk about what they're looking at. Okay, so Realtor.com thinks that we're gonna see home prices continue to appreciate by about 5.4%. HPES says 2.6%, MBA says 0.7%, NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, thinks it'll grow at 0.3%. Freddie Mac is looking at a decrease of 0.2%. Fannie Mae is saying 1.5% decrease, and Zelman is saying a 5.1% decrease. So you're going to have to determine who is your favorite source, who aligns with what your way of thinking is and is presenting the data that you hold most dear to your heart. But if we take all of those and we average them together, we can see that while it's not going to be real heady growth, we're not going to see a huge decrease. We're going to see a flattening out of our market. Now, if you have been watching my market updates, my monthly market updates, prior to this last 6 months, you know that I was saying, you guys, we cannot maintain this. This is not healthy. We should not be at this level of appreciation. At some point, this has to stop. Well, guess what? It came to a screeching halt. And that is why this feels so dramatic to everyone. Okay. So let's also look at another main difference between these two markets that we've had, 08 and 2022, 2023. Foreclosures, okay? So you can see kind of historically since the early 200s, what our foreclosure numbers have looked like. Well, they're still at historic lows. Historic lows. So that is going to be a huge difference between this market and our 08-09 market. Most everyone has equity in their homes at this time. So even if they're in some financial trouble, they're not necessarily going to have the home foreclosed on unless they just choose to bury their head in the sand and kick that can down the road until it can't be kicked anymore. And then they're going to lose their shorts. But a foreclosure is most of the time not going to happen just because it happens. All right. So that is a major difference between these two things. What do we think is going to happen with the mortgage rate? So we have had over this last year a huge conversation about affordability in both the national and in the Arizona real estate market. And that plays in with our inflation. And it has also played in with our dramatic rise in just 1 year about with our mortgage rate. So you can see back here, if we're looking at these numbers over here, way back at the beginning of the year, we were down in the 3s. all of a sudden by June, we were in the fives. All of a sudden by October, we were in the sixes and the sevens. And now we're starting to see those numbers come down again. So what do we expect to have happen with those? Well, we actually expect them to come down a bit more, but we don't expect them to be just absolutely crazy town. Okay, so this is going to be something that is going to very much play into our conversation about affordability in 2023 and everybody buying homes. Okay, so again, mortgage rates are expected to continue their downward trajectory. We will not be getting back down into our threes. That was kind of in a once in a lifetime sort of situation. And our buyers need to kind of readjust and figure out what the reality and their expectations need to be. But we do expect to see the downward trajectory of rates over the next year. All right. So again, there it is. We just kind of, that's what everybody is predicting. Freddie Mac, 30-year fixed rate. That's what they're predicting. All right. So this is a quote that I kind of want to end this little video with, this portion of our video with. And this is from Chief Economist from Bright MLS. Her name is Lisa Stewart-Vaught. And this is what she had to say. Prospective buyers may be tempted to try and time rates to jump into the market when rates dip, but timing rates is difficult. So you guys, if we expect houses to stay about flat over the next year or go up a little bit, then there is the mortgage rates that will hopefully just come down a little bit more, and then they're going to flatten out as well. This is what you can kind of expect for the next year, maybe 2 years. Historically, our home values have always continued to go up. So buyers, if you are thinking you are going to wait for this big crash and for the rates to come down for this perfect storm for you, I am so sorry. I'm going to predict that that is not going to happen. Sellers, if you are going to predict that interest rates are going to go through the floor again and your rates are going to continue to go through the ceiling again, I am so sorry. That is not going to happen for you either. So we are going to go back into a balanced market. Everybody needs to reset their expectations. When we get to the 5% interest rates, I believe that's about as good as it's going to get for the next little while. And we're going to be resetting at something that is more historically normal. All right. So that is my prediction for 2023 and what is going to happen with our overall national and Arizona market. Now, we do expect Arizona's real estate market to be and continue to be a fairly strong market. It is a buyer's market right now, but again, you're not finding those amazing deals, nor do we think that they're going to be coming to the market anytime soon. So if you're thinking about buying or selling in the next little while, if you have reason to buy or sell in the next little while, it's a good time. It's a good time. I will leave you with this thought. As interest rates bounce around, as they always do, you are going to be committing to a property and dating a rate. The rate can be changed. The property, if you find the right one, can't be, and you don't want to miss out on that property. So let's go ahead. Let's start looking at our finances. Let's start adjusting our expectations, and let's start getting moving before we lose any more time on market, any more lost opportunities, and any more days, years, months of equity growth for yourself rather than your landlord. All right. Those are some of the thoughts I want to leave you with. Now, going into 2023, or what can you expect from the Living 48 real estate team? You guys, we're going to continue to be here. We're going to be continuing to work hard for you. We're going to try and bring in more statistics to be a part of our education of our clients and our friends out there. We're going to be looking to you guys for more referrals. We need to know who we should be talking to. We want to help all of our friends out there get the very, very best agents with the very, very best knowledge. That means that if you have a need in Illinois, New York, Hawaii, whatever, we would like you to come to us and we will help get you combined and connected with a great agent over there in that area. We have worked really hard this past year and are continuing to work on relationships around the country with other agents so that we make sure that we have great referral agents for you. So we want to be your one-stop shop for anything that has to do with real estate really across the world. So with that said, we are so grateful for your support. We are so grateful for your continued watching of these videos, your education, your questions. And we would like to encourage you to keep sending those to us so that we can continue to speak to the things that are on your mind, on your heart, and that are concerning you about the real estate market as a whole. Thank you again so much for supporting this. And you guys, we'll see you in 2023. Stay safe, stay healthy, happy holidays, and we'll see you soon.